Hey guys, it is now the 25th of May. I'm here for 5 more weeks in Belfast from tomorrow. And, as one thing, it looks like, 5 turns is kind of how long it's gonna take me now to get a handle on Western Europe. So, that might mean that at the end of my time in Belfast, I'll be in a position to do some kind of a like next season vibe out of this diary of mine that you're listening to, and I'll be more or less exploring the moon and beginning the unification of Belgium and Netherlands, probably in about 5 turns, which will match with my time going to Canada. So I think what I would do in that case is take a pause turn this thing off briefly for a few minutes, and then for a few weeks, and then start up again with the new, like when I get back to Kenya maybe, with the new lease on the game and a new phase of my life. So that could be cool. Now, a bit more on the game is that I am really gonna have to, for the next 5 turns, fight hard for Western Europe. As you can see, right now, everyone's in France except one guy in Spain. Everyone's gonna be running around between Netherlands, Belgium, England, France, and Spain, with the occasional jump to somewhere else for the next 5 turns. So that's cool. And there's also a big fight to be had in the position of science, because I need to make sure the AIs, if they're losing, which they generally are because the human is a way better player than them, they like to go straight to Mars and skip the moon, which is really a problem for you as a human player. You get overextended in the wrong direction. So you want to make sure that you get this outpost tabs technology. That'll make sure that I get to choose the direction of our first space exploration, so I can go first to the moon, which is nearly identical to Mars except really close. Like, why would you go to Mars before Moon? Moon is right there, very close to humanity, and Mars is no better and just really far away. So go to the damn moon. So yeah, now, in terms of my life, I have just secured a house as a long-term residency here in Belfast. So that's very good. And I move in there. In fact, I get the keys to that place tomorrow. I get thrown out of that place at the end of this month. So like next Sunday will be my first day when I don't have access to my present room. So that's alright. And from there I'm going to get into a position to secure my long-term residency of these parts. Now the other key part of my life at the moment is selling my plastic. And I'm going to do that next week. William said that he's on holiday right now. He'll be back on Tuesday. He's ready to go this week coming. And I'm going to do 2 days of that. Saudi Arabia has a space program, which is great because they're basically just a tropical factory that can do anything you'd ever want a factory to do. So one of my strategies of this game has been Saudi Arabia. I'll talk about that later, but they're going to really rocket into space pretty quickly now. So anyway, I'm going to spend 2 days this week selling. The first day I'm going to meet with William. He's going to call up like department stores, like big box stores that sell construction materials for home improvement and for specialist carpenters and the like to buy their stuff. And he's going to see if they think there's going to be any demand for my product, and then recommend me factories producing plastic woods to call. And a lot of it'll just be training up William to be good at his job, to be confident with the calls, like don't start with the high stakes stuff. It'll also give us a bit more information and spread the word a little bit. I think it's not a bad call. And then the second day we meet, which will probably be the Friday of this week, is when we're going to make some calls with the key customer we have in mind. And the key customer we have in mind will be plastic lumber production factories in and around Northern Ireland. So, that's kind of got me a bit scared. It's a fairly high stakes event, but I'm also fairly confident. I think I've done my homework, or I'm doing my homework, let's say. And things are working, and things are in a good standing to work out pretty well from this. So that's where I am. Now, 5 weeks. There is still some demand for me to throw this party thing. I might do it. It's kind of an overstretch. The other issue I'm looking at is when I'm done, I'm going to Hamilton, Ontario for this wedding. Then I will go to Massachusetts and spend a couple of weeks, hopefully, with my family there. And then I need to get from Massachusetts. Look at that critical success in France. And then I will go, hopefully, from Massachusetts to Kenya. But it's a bit tricky to figure out how to get there. And I might actually end up going through Western Europe over the course of events. It'll be really easy to get to Dublin from Boston. That's a nice thing. So I might jump back to this side and then kind of meander my way to Paris or London before making a move to Mombasa. And I don't want to come into Nairobi because last time I came into Nairobi I was deported. So we need to come, ideally I want to go to Addis and then Mombasa. And I think Paris or London are going to be way easier for that than Dublin or Boston. New York might be manageable, but that was how I got deported last time. So I don't really want to do it that way. So that's where I stand. This week coming, I'm going to possibly make the sale, which will secure my future. So that is no stakes, guys. Don't worry about that one bit. I've done what I needed to do in terms of getting my new house. There's going to be some admin around that. I might stretch to having some kind of an event with the local friends here to tell people I'm cool. Look at this. Poland is leaving the EU in this game. And that's it. And then I need to get back to Kenya in time to put together the shipment that will be coming this way after the sale. So that's very cool. Now that Poland left the EU, I mentioned it's now 14 more turns until I need to hold England, and then after that it's 12 more turns before I need to get Germany to be on schedule. Germany's about to leave the EU, which is gonna be annoying, but basically what I often do with the EU is slowly munch on all these little countries. What I think I'll do this time is worry about big chunky countries. Oh, look at this. Archangel. So first Benelux, then Spain, England, Germany, but then I would keep my eye on Poland and Italy, which are both about to leave the EU, essentially. Because it'll be good to get a big population country. It'll maybe be easier on my man hours. These guys need to waste their time conquering small countries. Okay, that's fine. So yeah, that's where I stand. I'm moving into a new house for next week, and I will hopefully have... That's very good. I will hopefully have some news for you in the sales side of things next week. In terms of the factories, there's only a handful in Northern Ireland. There's a lot more in the rest of the British Isles. But there's like 3, there's probably like 5. I've managed to find 3. Next time I will be in a position to, this week, talking to the guys, my first day of selling this week, might be in a position to find the rest, so that's part of that. But in terms of the department stores, there's a lot. There's 6 major ones plus 1 online, but then a lot of the small towns around Northern Ireland have independent small owner-operators. So there's a lot of companies in the towns, and if I have a huge amount of trouble with the big players in Belfast and the larger towns, I can just call up some guy in Enniskillen or whatever, which gives me a bit of strategic mobility in that space. But that's not the important space, unfortunately. Okay, I hold all of France. And now my tech is going to be substantially better because of that. And here we go. That should be the end of the turn. And with that, I will see you folks next week. Let's wait for the tick. Come on, tick. Tick-tock. There we go. See you guys.